Hey, this is Jeff. Nice to see you again. Thanks for checking out this video. Welcome to my channel. This is another video in my series Discovering Kelowna, where I'm checking out all 203 city parks and regional parks within the city of Kelowna. So I've set myself a year. I'm a little more than half done now. It's going really well. Today, I'm starting in Rutland. I'm in the northwest quadrant, which is the quadrant I haven't explored yet. And the theme of today's trip is lowlands to upland. So I'm going to start at the Chichester Wetland Park, which you can see behind me, and then I'm going to travel up to Tower Ranch, which you follow the fence line. It's kind of the middle ridge there. I'm going to climb up to that hilltop, and there's a park up on top protecting that hilltop. So just a little bit of geographical knowledge here. Okanagan Lake, which is the core of the Okanagan Valley, where Kelowna is right in the middle of, is at 342 meters above sea level. And right now I am at about 400 meters above sea level. So it's one of the lower points, one of the lowest points in Rutland, where a lot of the city or the urban center of Rutland drains to, and then from here it goes northwest through Francis Creek to Mill Creek. But from this low point, we're going to head up to a neighborhood park on Hartman, off Hartman Road, called Hartman Park, which is going to be about 500 meters. And then we're going to head up to Tower Ranch and the top of that hill, which should be about 750 meters. So a little elevation, a couple different changes today, some variety. It's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope you come along to see what I see. Hey, so here we are, our first park of the day. This is a big one. This is the Chichester Wetland Park in Rutland. So if you love the fascia wetland, you should come to the Chichester Wetland. This park is great. It's got a lot of wetland. It's got this big pond you can see behind me, and you know who loves this park? The ducks. So many mallards here, but I also saw 2 buffleheads and a lot of other bird life. I've seen a magpie, a flicker, I saw a hawk, I saw a lot of little birds I didn't know the name of. It is a wonderful natural resource right in the northwest quadrant of Rutland. This park is also beloved by people who like to go for a walk and people who like to walk their dog. I'm sure the dogs absolutely love all the duck activity here. It's pretty exciting. Just a few words about the geography of this park. This is a natural wetland. This lowland marks the place where Bower Brook, which comes down out of Tower Ranch from the east, joins up with Gopher Creek, which comes up from the south on the kind of the southwest side of Black Mountain. So they used to come together here in this wetland. And then it drains to the west, kind of the northwest, through Francis Creek, I don't remember, which is a tributary of Mill Creek. So it's a very important area. It really is the drainage point for pretty much all of Rutland. Of course, a lot of Bower Brook and, well, not Bower Brook so much, but a lot of Gopher Creek, of course, which comes up from the south, is all in the storm sewers. So basically this is just like we saw in Red Lick Pond and other places. This now is a place where storm sewers discharge their water, and that is all collected and sent northwest. So you can see this is developed a while ago. One of the ways I know is because the whole pond here is surrounded by these huge weeping willows. Of course, weeping willows are from Eurasia, right? Their Latin name is Babylonian willow. I don't know if they're from Iraq or if that's just a Bible reference, but they're not from around here. So the fact that there's these huge weeping willows all around this pond shows us that this pond was probably built, you know, in the mid 20th century when they were thinking about when they were draining Rutland for agricultural land, or maybe when they were subdividing it, I don't know. But it's, you know, still here, and it's still a beautiful natural resource for all the people of Kelowna and all the birds who need a place to hang out to come and enjoy themselves. So I've only checked out the official park today, but to the west, the city hopes eventually to extend the park and to plan a linear park along Francis all the way to Mill Creek, or at least to the highway. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go, but it's dependent on development. So when those lots to the west are developed, then the developers will give some money and the city will develop that linear park. Right now, after you get to the westernmost bridge in this park, technically that land to the west is not part of the park. It is an undeveloped agricultural tract, but it is still wetland, and I think there's probably still a trail there. I didn't investigate too closely. I'll investigate that in the future. But it's an extensive and beautiful park. Hey, so here I am in my second park of the day. This is Harris Park. So this actually isn't a separate zone from the Chichester Wetland, but it is technically a separate park. This is at the end of Harris Court, and if you can see behind me, it's mostly a neighborhood park with a playground. I'm not sure how many people realize it's a separate park because it's very well connected. I mean, almost a third of the border of this park is connected seamlessly with the Chichester Wetlands. So that's great. That's one of the reasons why this is a very well protected park. It's also at the end of a cul-de-sac, as I mentioned. So, you know, it's a safe place to send your kids. It's a safe place to go and walk your dog, and you don't have to worry about traffic and lots of other things. So it's probably a quiet place. It's very pleasant. It's quite large. It's got lots of lawns and a little bit of hill. It's got some trees. It's separated from the Chichester Wetland, quote unquote, separated by a nice line of birch trees. So it's quite a beautiful neighborhood park. I mean, it's dwarfed by the wetland beside it, but that just means you can stand in this park and feel like it's absolutely huge. So that's fun. And functionally, it's important, of course, because it connects not just Harris Court, but other streets in front of me. There's a nice broad walkway with plantings that leads to Hillaby, and so it connects the cul-de-sacs of this neighborhood to the wonderful wetland park that's just to the south. So it's a nice neighborhood park, Harris Park. Hey, so here I am coming to you from my third park of the day. This is Hartman Park. So this is a neighborhood park on Hartman Road. So if you recall, Hartman Road was the road that ran north of the Rutland Recreation Park, where the dog park was, and the the sports fields. And I checked that out when I was on my northeast Rutland walk. But if you continue on that road east, outside of the suburban area, you head up some hills through a series of terraces up into agricultural land. So, you know, traditionally, 100 years ago, let's say, and for much of the 20th century, a lot of this land on the east of Rutland and up into Ellison, where we were before, was ranch land, because it's all grassland. People would let their cows roam around and whatnot. But now there's a lot of vineyards, so we passed up through some vineyards on the way here. And here, Hartman Park is actually in a pocket of suburban development. It's like an island of residential lots in the middle of all this agricultural land. So I'm not sure who swung that. I mean, I understand from a developer's perspective why, because the number one feature of this park, and apologies to anyone who loves playgrounds and picnic tables and you know, places to go sledding, is the view. The view here is incredible. Let's just take a look at some of the things we can see from this park. So let's start looking south. There over the top of that house, we can see Mine Hill, which is one of the lesser peaks of Black Mountain. We can't actually see Black Mountain, it's off to the left there. But if we go around, we can see the south slopes through these trees. And of course, we can start to see the lake. There in the middle of the shot now is Okanagan Mountain. Of course, it's all a provincial park, Okanagan Mountain Provincial Park. You can see the trees there. That's the slopes above Mission Creek. So behind that is the benches. And then if we turn a little bit, we can see all the way to downtown Kelowna and the lake. And of course, in the distance there is Mount Boucherie, which is in West Kelowna. So looking east now, across the streets of Rutland, you can probably see Hartman Road there heading into the distance. Past this houses and streets, the middle ridge you see there is Dilworth. So this is the other side of Dilworth. And on the right side there, where there's no trees, that is a hill called Mount Baldy, which I guess is a joke because the real Mount Baldy is down by Penticton. And then beyond that is actually the mountains on the other side of the lake. So from this perspective, Dilworth is blocking out the Glenmore Highlands. But if you look just to the right of Mount Baldy, you can see some of the Glenmore Highlands where I was when I was exploring Wilden. And there's a lot of trails up there. See them before they're gone. See them before they get developed in the next few decades. And then if we turn this way to the northwest, of course, towering over everything, we see the wide white peak of Mount Tehetkun, which is the highest mountain in the northeast, to the northeast of the Okanagan. It's not technically in the Okanagan, it's technically in the Thompson Plateau, but it's the largest mountain around to the the northeast quadrant of the Okanagan. So we can see a lot from this perspective, right? I mean, the perspective is amazing. It's you can see a ton of things. It's great. I would come here just for the view. It's a great perspective. I'm often down by the lake and looking east, looking at Black Mountain, things like that. I rarely come up this way and look the other way. So that was a revelation to me. This is the kind of thing I'm doing this project for. So it's super good. So we're, like I said before in the introduction, we're at 500 meters now. So we're 100 meters above Rutland, where we started this adventure. So that just gives you an idea of what you can see just going up 100 meters, right? So anyway, yeah, if you like a good view, or if you like the oddness of a residential island in the middle of agricultural land, you should come to Hartman Park. Hey, so here I am coming to you for my last park of the day, Tower Ranch. So Tower Ranch is very much a brand new neighborhood. I believe it was only started 5 to 10 years ago. So this land, like a lot of the land on this side of the valley, used to be a ranch. And it was in fact owned by a man named Stan Tower. But Stan Tower retired to that ranch where he worked until he died at 78 in the year 2000. But he was a member of a family that owned the Tower Ranch, which sat at the east gate of Manning Park along the Hope-Princeton Highway. So if any of you viewing, took that highway in the 50s, you might remember the Tower Ranch. They had cabins, they had a service station, and he was one of the siblings that ran that place, and then he retired out here. And I guess after he died, his land got bought for development because it has now got a golf course and a lot of houses. And just like the last park we saw, it has an incredible view. So we're now up at about 700 meters. We can see a lot of the same things we saw before, but from a little higher up, and it's spectacular. So I completely understand why people would want to have houses up on this precious agricultural ranching land and build on these lots that used to be precious grassland ecosystems, because you get an amazing view. Now, unfortunately, even though my maps showed me that there were trails on this hill that I could get into and climb, if you can see that sign there, it says, no public access, trail under construction. Could I go past that sign and blunder through the snow on an unfinished trail? I could. I can tell that no one else has been that foolish, and I'm not going to do that either. So that's disappointing, because I'd really hoped to climb this hill, to bag it, as they say. But I know this park is under construction, probably with developer money from the housing around here. And so I'm going to call this good for now. I'm going to count this for my challenge because I can't get in there, but I'm going to come back before the end of July and see if this trail is done and see if I can't walk these trails, because I would love to climb that hill and see what's up there. Maybe see what those rare grasslands are like in the summertime when they're growing and thriving and doing their thing. So anyway, this is what I can do for now from Tower Ranch. Well, There we go. That was our exploration for today. I had a really good time. I think it turned out really well. As you can see, we started in the lowlands down by Chichester Wetland, and we saw Hartman Park, and then we are now up in the highlands, up in the uplands. We are very close to the border of Kelowna, actually. So we passed Hartman Park, which is up on a terrace, and we saw a great view from there. And we saw a pretty good view from down near Tower Ranch Hill, which is right over there. But I gotta say, this view, this view from up at the end of Tower Ranch Boulevard is the best of the day. So I'm glad I made my way up here just to see what I could see. So I'm sorry, not sorry to you, but I'm disappointed that I couldn't get into Tower Ranch Hill Park. But I look forward to its future development, and I look forward to exploring it. I mean, let me just say, I know that sometimes I sound pretty negative against these developments that you know, occur in places that are identified as precious, you know, ecosystems. You read the city reports about sensitive habitat, and it's all, you know, exactly where these houses are going. But the people got to live somewhere, and sometimes it's better for them to live on the hill than it is for them to live down in the valley bottom where all the animals and plants and things want to live. So, and there's a lot of competition, right? So I don't know. It's hard for me to know where to land on that. Obviously, no buses are coming out here. This is very car dependent. But that said, I'm glad to have explored it, and it's nice to be here when it's being built, and so I can come back and see how it develops over the years. That's always fun and exciting for me. So I hope you enjoyed what we saw, the views and the ducks and other things. If you did, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my explorations around Kelowna. I'm still just over halfway through all the parks of Kelowna, and you know, I've seen a lot of the lowland parks in Rutland and Kelowna and things. Haven't seen a lot of the Mission yet, but I got a lot of hikes and things still to come. So if you subscribe, if you hit the notification bell, then you'll get to know when my new videos come out. So I'm glad you watched this one, and I hope I see you again next Friday.